United States District Judge Gerald Bruce Lee ruled that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office should indeed cancel the team's trademark of the Redskins name because the name, quote unquote, may disparage Native Americans. What does this mean? I'm not a counselor. I don't play one on TV. Michael McCann of Sports Illustrated, at McCann Sports Law, joining me here right now on the Rich Eisen Show once again. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great, Rich. And yourself?
I am hanging in there. What does all this mean?
Well, it's a big deal in the sense that a federal court has said the Redskins name is no longer protected by the federal government as an exclusive trademark. And that's important in the sense that an exclusive trademark gives the Redskins certain protections under law against counterfeits, against other businesses trying to make money off the team name. So it's important in that regard. It's also symbolically important in that a federal judge has described the name as offensive to Native Americans. But what it doesn't mean, and I think this is maybe more significant, it doesn't force the team to change the name. The Redskins have other protections under federal and state laws to stop counterfeits. So in actuality, I don't think it's as significant as it sounds, but it's certainly a setback for the Redskins, but it isn't going to force the team to change the name. And again, there are other legal protections that the team has to continue to make money off of its name and imagery.
Like what, Michael?
Well, there are state laws under Virginia law, for instance, that combat counterfeits. There are also other federal laws under consumer laws that the Redskins can avail themselves of to stop counterfeits. There are common law decisions, so decisions by judges that the team can use if another company is trying to make money off the team name. So they can cite those as areas of law that protect them in the event others try to exploit the team name without the trademark protection. But it does make it harder for the Redskins, and it makes it maybe more likely that they're going to have to deal with counterfeits, and they're going to have to spend more money fighting those types of counterfeit activities. But it isn't, it doesn't make the team change the name. Maybe the NFL now tells the Redskins and Daniel Snyder, hey, look, this is another piece of evidence that it's going to be harder to make money off this team name. Maybe you should think about another name. But clearly Daniel Snyder doesn't seem interested in that.
No, I don't think so. And it seems like so what would be next? Would it be cheaper to appeal it as opposed to just accept it and just and go ahead and fight anybody in another state in the union that cares to start making the T-shirts bearing the team's logo on it? I mean, what is I guess the cost analysis on this for Washington?
Yeah, it's a great question, because certainly having to go to court and litigate over counterfeits and other activities that hurt your business name increases your cost of business, and that has to be a factor for the Redskins. But it doesn't seem as if that's a major deterrent for the team. I think the team knows this. The team has likely planned ahead and developed legal strategies to address the absence of trademark protection under federal law. My guess is, Rich, is that this does not lead to the team to changing its calculus. I think the team will continue to use the Redskins name. I think it will take something else. I don't think it's going to take a court. I think it's going to take really pressure by the NFL, perhaps, where more senators come out and talk about it, more public leaders, the president, again, talking about it. Those types of activities, to me, would be more influential than the reduction in trademark protection.
So when it's all said and done, Dan Snyder and the Washington Redskins, it's just business as usual still, despite what happened today.
Yeah, I think they will look at this and try to minimize the significance of it. And on some level, they're correct in that they have other areas of legal protection. But I do think it's significant symbolically. I think it raises the issue again about whether the team name is disparaging. I think many believe it is, and that there are many who believe it should be changed. But ultimately, that's going to come down to a decision by the team owner and no one else.
Sports Illustrated legal analyst Michael McCann, you joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. What did you hear about the Brady appeal? What happened in that room? And what do you think about this issue moving forward, Michael?
Well, it's surprising, Rich, because in a storyline that has had so many media leaks, the hearing itself seems to have been kept pretty confidential in terms of what happens. So I think that's a sign that the two sides took it very seriously. And now we wait. For Roger Goodell, who under the collective bargaining agreement can render a decision as soon as practicable, which means almost whenever he wants. and we'll have to wait to see whether or not Tom Brady made a sufficient case to the commissioner, whether he provided new information, whether he provided evidence. And maybe he gave more evidence than he gave to Ted Wells. And that would give Goodell grounds to at least reduce the suspension. And then I think it comes down to, what is it going to take for Tom Brady not to go to court? Is it one game? Say it's a one-game suspension. Does he still go to court? Is it a two-game suspension? I think that calculus to me is going to be really interesting. What is acceptable to Tom Brady? Because he clearly has the resources and the desire to take this to court.
But before we get to that issue, Michael, should the commissioner reduce this in any way, shape, or form, what about the penalties the Patriots have already reluctantly accepted? The fact that that's already been handled, how can the commissioner reduce Brady's sentence without the Patriots raising their hand saying, well, what about the draft picks and the fines that we accepted?
Yeah, I think it puts the commissioner in a tough spot in the sense that the commissioner can't say Deflategate didn't happen, right? The commissioner can't say, you know what, you're right, the science behind the air pressure, there are a lot of questions about it. Maybe this wasn't an intentional ball deflation scheme. Maybe this was just atmospheric pressure. He can't say that, because if he says that, then Robert Kraft is going to call him up and say, why did you just take away my first-round draft pick and my fourth-round pick? Why are you fining me $1 million? It doesn't make any sense. So I think the commissioner can only really say, in essence, after reviewing the evidence, Tom Brady has been more cooperative, and Tom Brady has raised questions about his role and whether or not he had anything to do with this. We still believe there was an intentional ball deflation scheme, or at least have reason to believe it occurred, but we're less certain of Tom Brady's role. He could have been more helpful. He could have been more cooperative earlier on. We're happy to see that he has become more cooperative. I'm going to reduce his suspension to 1 or 2 games. I think we could see that kind of statement. So it doesn't invalidate the Deflategate theory that the NFL has put forward, but instead reduces the suspension for Brady, and I think the NFL clearly does not want to go to court against Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, no one wants that, unless maybe the Players Association does, because that would be their best shot at trying to reverse the collectively bargained right that the commissioner has to appoint himself the man in charge of the appeals process. Isn't that what this is, the ultimate goal for the Players Association is in all of this, Michael?
Yeah, Rich, I think the Players Association has a vested stake in seeing what you just said, in trying to claw back what they gave to the NFL in the collective bargaining agreement. Why is it that the commissioner can decide as soon as practicable? Why is Greg Hardy waiting? Why is Tom Brady going to have to wait a while? Why is the commissioner able to be the judge, essentially, the presiding officer, in a matter in which the league commissioner's office is at least somewhat implicated? You know, the fact is that there are NFL referees that played a big role in Deflategate. What air pressure gauge do they use? Why didn't they take all the readings before the game? Well, they work for the commissioner. Why is the commissioner the presiding officer? Well, these questions could be answered by the fact that the union gave the commissioner this authority. Right. And that's ultimately, I think, the biggest burden for Tom Brady is that issue. And you're right. The union now, I think, wants to use the litigation process to have judicially imposed restraints that they weren't able to obtain in the collective bargaining process.
Michael, thanks very much. I appreciate it. This is, again, all on the syllabus for your upcoming class at the University of New Hampshire, right, Michael?
That's right. This is going to be part of the reading assignment. The audio and video of this interview will be on it as well.
And for just those who are just joining maybe this conversation or didn't see your previous appearance, go ahead. You have the floor. What class is this?
Sure. So this fall, I'm going to be teaching Deflategate, a class at the University of New Hampshire. It will be an undergraduate course. It will be a sports law course. We'll talk about labor issues, but we'll also, at the end of the semester, talk about Deflategate. You know, and people are going to say, well, that sounds light. That sounds almost humorous. Well, look at Tom Brady being in a union, how his rights are different than Robert Kraft, who really signed away the ability to sue the NFL. Look at the ability of the commissioner to be a judge and witness in the same hearing. Why is that? Well, collective bargaining. These are real legal issues. Even if someone doesn't go into sports law, they're going to learn a lot about the law that would be useful to them across the board.
Well, I have a Patriot fan here on the set who's going to volunteer to help you mark some papers if you need. Are you ready to read some blue books?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brockman?
I've been to Durham, New Hampshire. I know where it is. Let's do this.
Oh, so just that's your those are your bona fides. Is that fine, Professor McCann? Just if he's been to the city of the university that he's qualified?
I think so. I think I could use a teaching assistant, so he should send over a resume.
Fantastic.
T.A. Chris Brockman.
It's in the mail, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Excellent.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Rich.
Professor Michael McCann.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.